I was sitting in class when the substitute teacher stuck her hand out and said, "Spit out your chewing gum." I wasn't chewing gum. I looked up from my notebook, confused, and told her I didn't have any. She moved closer to my desk, leaning down until her face was inches from mine. Her breath smelled like coffee and something metallic. "Yes, you do," she said quietly. "I can see it. Spit it out right now, Emma." The way she said my name felt wrong, like she'd been practicing it. I opened my mouth to show her it was empty, but she just smiled and walked back to the front of the classroom. That's when I noticed she hadn't introduced herself. Most substitutes write their name on the board and do the whole "I'm Mrs. Whatever, your teacher is out sick" routine. She just walked in 15 minutes late and started teaching without saying a word about who she was. My friend Jessica passed me a note that said, "WTF is her problem?" and I shrugged, but something felt off about the entire situation. The substitute kept glancing at me every few minutes, like she was checking to make sure I was still there. During the lecture on World War II, she asked random students questions, but kept circling back to me. "Emma," she'd say, "what do you think about that? Emma, can you give us your thoughts?" It was excessive enough that other students started noticing. When she turned to write on the board, I saw Tyler mouth, "She's obsessed with you," and make a crazy gesture. 40 minutes into class, she announced we were doing group work and started assigning partners. But when she got to me, she said I'd be working alone at the back table because I needed space to focus. That didn't make any sense because my grades were fine and I'd never needed special accommodations. I gathered my stuff and moved to the back corner like she said. The substitute followed me and crouched down beside my desk. "Your mom's name is Patricia, right?" she asked in a low voice. "And your dad is David. They work at the hospital downtown." My stomach dropped. How did she know that? Teachers have access to emergency contact forms, but why would a substitute memorize that information? And why bring it up randomly during class? I nodded slowly and she smiled again, that same practice smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You have a little brother too," she continued. "Charlie, is it? He's in 4th grade. Now my hands were shaking. That information definitely wasn't on any school forms. Charlie went to the elementary school across town. There was no reason this woman should know his name or his grade. I asked her how she knew about Charlie, and her smile faded. She stood up quickly and said we needed to focus on our work. Then she walked back to the front of the room, but she kept watching me. Every time I looked up, her eyes were on me. During the last 20 minutes of class, her phone kept buzzing. She'd check it, glance at me, then type something back. This happened 4 times. I pulled out my own phone under my desk and texted my mom asking if everything was okay at home. She responded immediately, saying everything was fine and asking why I was texting during class. The bell rang and everyone started packing up. The substitute called out that she'd see us tomorrow, which was weird because substitutes rarely came back for multiple days. As students filed out, she said my name again. "Emma, hang back for a second. I need to speak with you." Jessica gave me a concerned look, but I waved her on. The room emptied until it was just me and this woman who supposedly was filling in for Mrs. Patterson. She closed the classroom door. "I wanted to talk to you privately," she said, "because there's something important you should know about your father." My blood went cold. She moved toward me slowly, pulling something from her pocket, a photograph. She placed it face down on the desk between us. "Your parents have been lying to you, Emma. David isn't actually your father, and I can prove it." She flipped the photograph over, and what I saw made my breath catch in my throat, because the rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. The photograph shows a man I've never seen before. He's got dark hair like mine, the same slightly crooked smile I see in my own mirror. He's wearing hospital scrubs and standing next to my mom, who looks younger, maybe 10 years ago. They're laughing together, his arm around her shoulders in a way that's definitely not professional. "Who is this?" My voice comes out barely above a whisper. The substitute leans closer. "That's Dr. James Mercer, your real father." I stare at the photo, my mind racing. There's something in his eyes, the shape of his face that feels familiar in a way I can't explain, like looking at a puzzle piece that fits perfectly into a gap I never knew existed. "This doesn't prove anything," I say, but my voice lacks conviction. "My mom works at the hospital. She knows lots of doctors. Look at the date stamp." She points to the corner of the photo. "It's from almost 16 years ago, 9 months before I was born." "How do you even have this?" I demand, finding my voice again. "How do you know so much about my family? Who are you?" She smiles that same practiced smile. "I have access to certain information, records that tell the real story." "What records? Why are you doing this? You're not even a real teacher, are you?" Her smile falters for just a second. "Smart girl, but that doesn't change the truth about your father, about who you really are." I glance toward the door, calculating my chances of making it out before she can stop me. That's when I notice something hanging from her bag on the teacher's desk, a hospital ID badge partially visible. "Downtown Memorial Hospital, the same place my parents work." "I need to go," I say, reaching for my backpack. "My mom's expecting me." "Patricia?" She laughs coldly. Patricia's been expecting things for years, like expecting her lies to stay buried. My phone vibrates in my pocket. I slip it out just enough to see Jessica's text. "You okay? Should I get help?" I type back quickly while the substitute is reorganizing papers on the desk. "Meet me after. Something weird. Need help. I really have to go," I say more firmly, standing up. She moves quickly, positioning herself between me and the door. "We're not finished. Emma, there's so much more you need to know. My parents will be worried." "David isn't your parent," she snaps, her calm facade cracking. "He's been lying to you your entire life. Don't you want to know the truth?" The bell for next period rings, and I hear students filling the hallway. The substitute glances nervously at the door, then back at me. "Tomorrow," she says. "We'll talk more tomorrow, and don't bother telling your parents about our conversation. They'll only feed you more lies." I nod, just wanting to get out. She steps aside slightly, but as I reach for the doorknob, her hand clamps around my wrist. "I'm trying to help you, Emma," she whispers. "You deserve to know who you really are." The door suddenly flies open, nearly hitting us both. Jessica stands there, eyes wide. "Oh my God, Mrs. Patterson just had a fall in the hallway," she exclaims dramatically. "Someone needs to help her right now." The substitute hesitates, confused. "Mrs. Patterson is out sick." I seize the moment, yanking my arm free and pushing past her. Jessica grabs my hand and we sprint down the hallway, not stopping until we reach the girls' bathroom, 2 corridors away. What the actual hell was that? Jessica demands once we're safely inside. What did she want? My hands are shaking as I pull out the phone. She's not a teacher. She knows everything about my family, my parents' names, where they work, even Charlie. She showed me a picture of some doctor and claims he's my real dad. Jessica's eyes widen. That's seriously messed up. Did you see her name anywhere? On papers or something? No, but she has a hospital ID. I saw it in her bag. She works at Downtown Memorial, same as my parents. Let's Google her, Jessica says, already pulling out her phone. What did she look like again? We spend the next 10 minutes searching for any substitute teacher matching her description. Nothing comes up. Try the hospital website, I suggest. Staff directory or something. Jessica types quickly. What department do your parents work in? Mom's in radiology, dad's in administration. After scrolling through several pages, Jessica stops suddenly. Is this her? She turns her phone toward me. My stomach drops. There she is. The same cold smile, same calculating eyes. Melissa Mercer, Laboratory Services. The profile reads, Mercer, I whisper. The same last name as the doctor in the photo. We need to tell someone, Jessica says. This is stalker territory. Let me figure this out first. If she really works with my mom, there must be some connection. The final bell rings, signaling the end of the school day. Jessica walks me to my car, keeping watch over her shoulder the entire time. Text me when you get home, she insists, and lock your doors. I nod, trying to appear calmer than I feel. The drive home takes 15 minutes, and I spend every second checking my rearview mirror. As I turn onto my street, a chill runs through me. A blue sedan I don't recognize is parked 3 houses down from mine. Behind the wheel sits the substitute, watching my house. When she sees me drive past, she doesn't even try to hide. She just stares directly at me, that same practiced smile on her face. I park in the driveway, hands trembling so badly I drop my keys twice. Once inside, I lock the door and run to the window. The blue sedan is still there. She's still watching. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to finish our conversation, Emma. Your mother isn't who you think she is. Neither is David. Ask them about James Mercer. Ask them about the DNA test they destroyed. I close the curtains and sink to the floor, my back against the wall. Something is very wrong, and I'm starting to think the substitute isn't completely lying. Why else would my parents have kept this secret? Why else would this woman be so determined to tell me? I hear a car pulling into the driveway. Mom's Subaru. I quickly wipe my eyes and delete the text message. I need to figure out what's happening before I confront them. But one thing is certain. The woman in the blue sedan isn't going anywhere, and neither are her secrets. I wait until Charlie's in bed before I decide to tell my parents. They're in the kitchen, mom washing dishes, dad drying them in that comfortable rhythm they've perfected over years of marriage. I watch them for a moment from the doorway, wondering if their entire relationship is built on lies. I need to talk to you guys about something, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. They turn simultaneously, mom's hands still dripping soapy water onto the floor. Something in my expression must give me away because dad immediately sets down the dish towel. What's wrong, honey? He asks. I take a deep breath. My substitute teacher today. She knew things about our family. Personal things. Mom frowns. What kind of things? Your names, where you work, Charlie's school, she told me. My voice catches. She told me dad isn't my real father. The dish in mom's hands crashes into the sink. Dad's face drains of color so quickly it's like someone pulled a plug. They exchange a look that makes my stomach drop. That's ridiculous, mom says too quickly. Who was this substitute? Did she give a name? No, but I saw her hospital ID. She works at Downtown Memorial in the lab. Melissa Mercer. Mom's hands grip the edge of the sink so hard her knuckles turn white. Melissa Mercer is claiming to be your teacher? She showed me a picture of you and some doctor named James Mercer. She said he's my real father. Dad takes a step toward me. Emma, listen, she followed me home. I cut him off. She was parked outside our house when I got here. She's been texting me from unknown numbers. What? Dad's voice rises sharply. Show me your phone, now. I pull it out and show them the latest message. Your parents will deny everything. Ask them about the birth certificate they altered. Mom's face crumples. Oh God, David. Patricia, don't. Dad's voice is tight with warning. She's stalking our daughter. I found her watching our house, I press. She knows things about us. About me. We need to call the police, Dad says, already reaching for his phone. No, Mom grabs his arm. We can handle this ourselves. Their eyes lock in silent communication, and I can practically feel the secrets passing between them. Why aren't you more surprised? I ask quietly. Why aren't you telling me she's crazy or making this up? Mom wipes her hands on her jeans, leaving damp streaks. Emma, this woman is clearly disturbed. We'll handle it. That's not an answer. My voice rises. Is Dad my real father or not? Of course I am, Dad says firmly, but there's something in his eyes, a flicker of something I can't quite name. Then why is she doing this? Why does she have photos of Mom with her brother from right before I was born? Mom freezes. She told you James was her brother? No, I figured that out. Same last name, the way she talks about him. Is it true? Go to your room, Emma, Mom says, her voice suddenly cold. We'll discuss this later. No, I want answers now. Patricia, Dad says quietly. Maybe we should, not like this, Mom hisses. Not because of her. I back away from them both. I'm going to find out the truth one way or another. That night, I can't sleep. Around midnight, I hear them arguing downstairs, their voices carrying through the heating vent in my floor. She deserves to know, Dad says. It will destroy everything, Mom responds. You saw how she looked at you tonight. Melissa isn't going to stop. If Emma doesn't hear it from us, I can get a restraining order through the hospital. She accessed confidential records that's grounds for immediate termination. Their voices drop too low for me to hear more, but I've heard enough. There's something they're hiding, and I'm going to find it. The next morning, I wait until they leave for work before searching the house. In my parents' closet, I find a metal lockbox tucked behind winter boots. The key is hidden in Mom's jewelry box, exactly where she's kept it since I was little. Inside, I find my birth certificate. The section for father's name is completely blacked out with marker, but holding it up to the light, I can just make out that a name was typed there originally, then physically redacted. My hands shake as I set it aside. Under it is a stack of family photos, the same ones from our family albums, but these are the originals. I can tell because in our albums, many photos are slightly cropped. Now I see why. In these uncropped versions, there's often a man partially visible at the edges, his face always conveniently cut out of the final versions in our family albums. My phone buzzes with another text from an unknown number. Find what you're looking for yet? There's more. Check the hospital database. Your mother's patient records from 16 years ago. The DNA test is there. I delete the message, my heart pounding. How does she know what I'm doing? I go to the window and scan the street. The blue sedan is parked 2 houses down. That afternoon, Charlie comes home from school looking confused. Emma, why did your teacher come to my school today? My blood runs cold. What teacher? The lady with the blue car. She said she works with mom and dad and needed to give me something for them, but then my teacher saw us and she left really fast. I hug him tightly. Charlie, if you see her again, run away and tell a teacher immediately. Don't talk to her, okay? Promise me. He nods, eyes wide. Is she a bad person? I don't know. I answer honestly, but I'm going to find out. That evening, Dad comes home early from work, his expression grim. We need to talk, Emma. He leads me to the living room where Mom is already waiting, her eyes red-rimmed. The hospital security team found evidence that Melissa Mercer has been accessing medical records she had no authorization to view. He says, your records. Your mother's records from before you were born. Mom takes my hand. Emma, there's something we should have told you a long time ago. David isn't my father, I say flatly. Mom closes her eyes briefly. 16 years ago, your father and I were separated for a few months. We were having problems and I made a mistake. I had a brief relationship with a doctor at the hospital, James Mercer. When your mother told me she was pregnant, Dad continues, we had already reconciled. I knew there was a possibility the baby wasn't biologically mine, but it didn't matter. I wanted to be your father. We did a DNA test when you were born, Mom adds quietly, but we decided it didn't change anything. David is your father in every way that matters. So you've been lying to me my entire life? My voice cracks. And what about James Mercer? Did he know about me? They exchange another look. No, Mom finally says. He transferred to another hospital before I knew I was pregnant. I never told him. His sister knew though, I say. Melissa figured it out. James died 3 months ago, Dad says gently. Cancer. It was in the hospital newsletter. I think that's what triggered Melissa's behavior. As if on cue, my phone buzzes with an incoming email. It's from an unknown address, but the subject line reads, DNA test results, Emma Walker. I open it with trembling fingers. Attached is a scanned hospital document from 16 years ago. Paternity test results comparing David Walker to newborn Emma Walker. Probability of paternity, 0%. I look up at my parents, tears blurring my vision. All this time, Mom reaches for me, but I pull away. Emma, please, I need some air, I say, standing up. I can't. I need to think. As I walk out the front door, I see the blue sedan still parked down the street. Melissa Mercer is watching, waiting. She has all the answers I need, but something tells me those answers come with a price. I'm not sure I'm ready to pay. I spend the next 2 days in a fog, barely able to focus on anything. The DNA test results keep flashing in my mind like a neon sign. David isn't my biological father. My entire life has been built on a lie. Jessica has been texting nonstop, but I've barely responded. How do I even begin to explain this? It's Saturday morning when I finally decide to do some research of my own. I pull up the hospital website and search for James Mercer. There's nothing current, but in the archived staff directory, I find him neurosurgery department, graduated top of his class from Johns Hopkins, board certified in both general and pediatric neurosurgery. I study his professional headshot. The resemblance is undeniable. Same dark hair, same slight asymmetry to our smiles, same deep-set eyes. I have his eyes. What are you doing? Charlie's voice startles me. He's standing in my doorway in his Spider-Man pajamas, hair sticking up in every direction. I quickly close the laptop. Just homework stuff. Want some breakfast? While I'm pouring Charlie's cereal, my phone buzzes with another text from an unknown number. James never knew about you. He died thinking he had no children. I'm all that's left of him now. I'm your family too. I block the number, but 10 minutes later, another text arrives from a different one. Your mother stole you from us. The Mercers deserve to know their granddaughter. My hands shake as I set the phone down. Mom and Dad are at work. Saturday shifts at the hospital. I'm alone with Charlie, and Melissa Mercer knows it. I call Jessica. Can you come over? I need help watching Charlie. On my way, she says without hesitation. While we wait, I keep Charlie close, checking the windows every few minutes. No sign of the blue sedan, but that doesn't mean she's not out there. Jessica arrives 20 minutes later, her face tight with concern. You look terrible. Thanks, I mutter, pulling her inside and locking the door. Once Charlie is settled in the living room with his video games, I tell Jessica everything. The DNA test, James Mercer, the texts. Holy shit, she whispers. So the substitute is my biological father's sister? My aunt, I guess? The word feels strange on my tongue. She's been stalking our family since James died. Have you told the police? My parents filed a report yesterday, but they said there's not much they can do unless she actually threatens us. Jessica scrolls through the texts on my phone. These seem pretty threatening to me. Not enough, apparently. I take my phone back. I need to figure out what she wants. What she wants. Emma, she's clearly unstable. You need to stay away from her. Before I can respond, Charlie calls from the living room. Emma, someone's at the door. My heart stops. I run to the window and peer through the curtains. There's no one on the porch, but a manila envelope sits propped against the door. Don't open it, Jessica warns. I have to know what she wants. I open the front door just enough to snatch the envelope, then lock it again. Inside is a stack of photos. James Mercer in various stages of his life. College graduation, medical school, standing outside the hospital in surgical scrubs. And one final photo, James in a hospital bed, thin and pale, tubes running into his arms. His final days. A note is paperclipped to the photos. He deserved to know you. You deserve to know him. Meet me at Ridgeview Park at 4 p.m. if you want the whole truth. Come alone. You're not going, Jessica says firmly. I need answers. Then let the police handle it. My phone rings. It's Mom. Emma, is everything okay? Yeah, fine. Jessica's over. Good. Don't answer the door for anyone. We'll be home by 6. She hesitates. Has that woman contacted you again? I look at the photos spread across the kitchen counter. No, everything's fine. After I hang up, Jessica glares at me. You're lying to your mom now? They've been lying to me my whole life. The afternoon drags by with excruciating slowness. At 3:30, I make a decision. I need you to watch Charlie until my parents get home. I tell Jessica. Her eyes widen. You can't be serious. I'll be fine. I'm just going to talk to her in a public place. This is insane, Emma. She's stalking you. She's the only one who can tell me about my real father. I grab my jacket. I'll text you every 15 minutes so you know I'm okay. Jessica tries to block the door. At least let me come with you. She said come alone. I don't want to spook her. I hug her quickly. I'll be careful. I promise. Ridgeview Park is only 10 minutes from my house. A large public space with playgrounds, picnic areas, and a small lake. On a Saturday afternoon, it should be full of people. Safe. I spot the blue sedan in the parking lot immediately. My pulse quickens as I park next to it, but the car is empty. I scan the park, finally spotting Melissa sitting alone at a picnic table near the lake. She looks up as I approach, her face brightening. You came. What do you want from me? I demand, staying a few feet away. To know you. To give you what your mother stole from you, your real family. James Mercer is dead. Pain flashes across her face. Yes, 3 months ago. Brain cancer, ironic for a neurosurgeon. She gestures to the bench across from her. Please, sit. Against my better judgment, I do. Did he ever know about me? No. Her expression hardens. Your mother made sure of that. She knew James was leaving for a fellowship in California. She never told him she was pregnant. By the time she knew, she'd already reconciled with David. How did you find out? I worked in the lab when your mother had her prenatal testing done. I saw the charts, the blood type incompatibility with David. I knew she'd been seeing my brother. It wasn't hard to put together. She leans forward. I confronted her and she begged me not to tell James. Said it would ruin everyone's lives. So you kept it secret all these years. Why come forward now? Because James is gone and you're all that's left of him. Her eyes fill with tears. You should have known him, Emma. He was brilliant, kind. He would have loved you so much. My phone buzzes a text from Jessica. Everything okay? I quickly reply, yes, still talking. We'll update soon. Melissa watches me. Your friend is worried about you. With good reason. You've been stalking my family. I've been trying to protect you. Your mother is a liar who robbed you of your heritage, your identity. That doesn't give you the right to. My phone rings. It's Jessica again. I silence it. I have more to show you, Melissa says, reaching into her bag. My phone immediately rings again. Irritated, I answer. Jessica, I told you I'm fine. Emma, Jessica's voice is frantic. Charlie's gone. My blood turns to ice. What do you mean, gone? I was in the bathroom for like 2 minutes. When I came out, the front door was open and he was just gone. I look up at Melissa, who's watching me with an odd expression. What did you do? What needed to be done? She says calmly. Don't worry, he's safe. I stand so quickly the bench tips backward. Where is my brother? Half-brother, she corrects. And he's with a friend of mine. He'll be perfectly fine as long as you cooperate. You kidnapped a child. Are you insane? I did what was necessary to make your parents understand the gravity of the situation. She stands too, suddenly calm and professional. Call your mother. Tell her to bring all of James's medical records to the old psychiatric wing at Memorial, the one they closed last year. Why would she have his medical records? Because she was listed as his emergency contact. He never removed her, even after all these years. Melissa's smile is bitter. He never stopped loving her. My hands shake as I dial Mom's number. She answers on the first ring. Emma, is everything okay? She has Charlie, I say, my voice breaking. Mom's sharp intake of breath is audible. Who has Charlie? Melissa? Yes, she wants you to bring James Mercer's medical records to the old psychiatric wing at Memorial, the one that's closed. Emma, where are you right now? At Ridgeview Park, with her. Listen to me very carefully, Mom says, her voice deadly calm. Your father and I are calling the police. Do not go anywhere with that woman. Stay in the park where there are people. Melissa grabs the phone from my hand. Hello, Patricia. It's been a long time. She listens for a moment. No, I don't think involving the police is a good idea. Not if you want to see Charlie again. Another pause. 1 hour. Come alone with the records. And Patricia, don't try anything clever. She hangs up and hands me back the phone. Let's go. I'm not going anywhere with you. Her expression hardens. Yes, you are. Because if you don't, your parents will never see Charlie again. The police will find him. Maybe, eventually. But do you really want to take that chance? She reaches into her bag and pulls out Charlie's Spider-Man. Watch the one he never takes off. He's counting on you, Emma. I feel sick, but I follow her to her car. As we drive, I text Jessica under the table. She has Charlie. Going to old psych wing at Memorial Hospital. Tell police. Melissa navigates the Saturday traffic with eerie calm. Like this is just a normal day. I never wanted to hurt anyone, she says. I just wanted justice for James. For you. Kidnapping a child isn't justice. Sometimes extreme measures are necessary when dealing with people who lie as easily as your mother does. The old psychiatric wing at Memorial is a separate building connected to the main hospital by a glass walkway. It was closed for renovations last year and hasn't reopened. The parking lot is empty when we arrive. How did you even get access to this place? I ask as she leads me toward a side entrance. I've worked at this hospital for 20 years. I know every back door and security code. She punches numbers into a keypad and the door clicks open. After you. The hallway inside is dim, emergency lights casting everything in an eerie blue glow. Our footsteps echo on the linoleum. Where's Charlie? I demand. Safe. You'll see him soon. She leads me through a maze of corridors to what was once a patient lounge. Charlie is sitting on a couch, playing a handheld video game, looking completely unbothered. A man in scrubs sits beside him. Charlie! I rush toward him. He looks up and grins. Emma, this is Mark. He has the new Minecraft update on his phone. The man. Mark stands awkwardly. Melissa, this has gone too far. You said we were just bringing him here to talk to his sister, and now they're talking, Melissa says smoothly. Thank you for your help, Mark. You can go now. Mark hesitates, looking between us. Are you sure everything's okay here? Everything's fine, Melissa says. Family business. After Mark leaves, I pull Charlie into a tight hug. Are you okay? Did she hurt you? I'm fine, he says, squirming away. She said we were playing a surprise game for you. I glare at Melissa. You involved an innocent child in your revenge scheme. Not revenge, justice. She checks her watch. Your parents should be here soon. As if on cue, we hear footsteps in the hallway. Mom appears in the doorway, her face pale but determined. Dad is right behind her, looking more furious than I've ever seen him. Charlie! Mom rushes forward, pulling him into her arms. Let them go, Dad says to Melissa, his voice dangerously quiet. This is between you and us. This is between all of us, Melissa replies. Did you bring what I asked for? Mom reluctantly hands over a thick folder. Here, all of James's records. Melissa takes the folder reverently, her fingers tracing his name on the label. He never knew, she says softly. He died never knowing he had a daughter. I wanted to tell him, Mom says, so many times. But I made a choice to keep my family intact. You stole his child? Melissa's calm facade cracks. He died alone, Patricia. No wife, no children, just me. I'm sorry for your loss, Dad says carefully. But this isn't the way to honor his memory. Melissa laughs bitterly. What would you know about honoring him? You raised his daughter as your own while erasing him from her life. I loved her as my own because she is my own. Dad responds, his voice breaking. Biology doesn't make a father. While they argue, I edge closer to Charlie, positioning myself between him and Melissa. I can see she's becoming more agitated, her hands shaking as she clutches the folder. James deserved to know, she insists. Emma deserved to know. You're right, Mom says quietly. We should have told Emma the truth years ago. That was our mistake. But this kidnapping Charlie, threatening our family, this isn't about Emma or James. This is about your grief. Melissa's face contorts. Don't you dare psychoanalyze me. Your brother died and you're in pain, Mom continues gently. I understand that pain. I loved him too, once. Shut up, Melissa screams, causing Charlie to flinch against me. You don't get to talk about him like that. I notice Charlie's fear and something snaps inside me. Stop it, I shout. You say you care about family? About what James would have wanted? Do you really think he'd want this? His sister terrorizing a child? Melissa stares at me, something shifting in her eyes. You don't understand. I understand that you're hurting, I say more softly. I understand you lost your brother, but this isn't going to bring him back. Her shoulders sag suddenly, as if all the fight has drained out of her. He was all I had left. That's not true, I say carefully. If what you're saying is true, then I'm his daughter. I'm your family too. She looks at me with desperate hope. You are. You're so much like him, Emma. The way you analyze situations, the way you stand up for people you love, that's pure James. While I keep her talking, I see Dad slowly inching toward the door. I need to keep her distracted. Tell me about him, I say. What was he like as a kid? Her face softens as she starts to talk about James, childhood memories, medical school achievements, his dreams of opening a pediatric neurosurgery center. She's so lost in memories, she doesn't notice Charlie slipping behind. Mom doesn't see Dad disappearing through the doorway. He would have loved you so much, she says, tears streaming down her face. He always wanted children. I wish I could have known him, I say honestly. Melissa steps toward me, reaching out her hand. You still can, through me. We can be a family. Before I can respond, the sound of multiple footsteps echoes down the hallway. Dad reappears in the doorway, flanked by 2 police officers. Melissa Mercer? One officer says. We need you to step away from the family. Melissa's face crumples as reality crashes back. No, you don't understand. They stole her from us, from James. Ma'am, please put your hands where we can see them. For a terrible moment, I think she might do something desperate, but then her shoulders slump in defeat. As the officers approach, she looks directly at me, her eyes filled with a terrible mixture of grief and determination. This isn't over, she whispers. You're a Mercer, Emma. Remember that. The officers lead her away, and I collapse into Dad's arms, my whole body shaking with delayed fear and adrenaline. Charlie clings to Mom, confused but sensing the danger has passed. I'm so sorry, Dad murmurs into my hair. So sorry you had to go through this. Outside, more police cars have arrived, their lights painting the hospital parking lot in flashes of red and blue. As we watch Melissa being placed in the back of a police car, I can't help but feel a complicated mix of emotions, relief, fear, and underneath it all, a strange sense of loss for the father I never knew and now never will. I'm standing in the doorway of the abandoned psychiatric wing, watching as the police officers lead Melissa away. Her final words echo in my mind. You're a Mercer, Emma. Remember that. A strange mix of emotions churns inside me, relief that Charlie is safe, anger at what she put us through, but also a deep, unexpected sense of loss for the biological father I'll never know. Dad's arm is still around my shoulders, solid and familiar. I lean into him, suddenly exhausted. Let's go home, he says softly. The drive back is silent. Charlie falls asleep in the back seat, his head against Mom's shoulder. I stare out the window, watching the streetlights blur together. Everything feels different now, like someone has redrawn the map of my life with boundaries I never knew existed. At home, Mom puts Charlie to bed while Dad makes tea. I sit at the kitchen counter, my phone buzzing with messages from Jessica asking if we're okay. I send her a quick text. We're safe. Charlie's fine. I'll call tomorrow. Dad sets a steaming mug in front of me. You should try to get some sleep. I don't think I can, I admit. Every time I close my eyes, I see her face. He sits beside me, cradling his own mug. Emma, I know we have a lot to talk about, a lot to explain. You knew the whole time? My voice cracks. That you weren't my biological father? He nods slowly. From the beginning. Why didn't you tell me? Mom appears in the doorway, her eyes red-rimmed. That was my decision, she says. I thought I was protecting you. From what? The truth? She sits across from me, her hands trembling slightly. When I found out I was pregnant, your father David and I had just reconciled after a separation. I had been seeing James during that time. She takes a shaky breath. I was going to tell James about the pregnancy, but then he accepted a fellowship in California. He was leaving, and David and I were trying to rebuild our marriage. So you just erased him from my life? We made a choice, Dad says gently. I wanted to be your father, Emma. In every way that matters, I am your father. But you lied to me my entire life. Yes, Mom says, her voice barely above a whisper. And I'm so sorry for that. We sit in silence for a long moment, the weight of 16 years of secrets hanging between us. What was he like? I finally finally ask. James. Mom's expression softens. Brilliant. Passionate about neurosurgery. He had this laugh that would fill an entire room. She smiles faintly. And he was stubborn, just like you. Once he set his mind on something, there was no changing it. Did he ever come back after California? Yes, about 5 years ago. He returned to Memorial as head of neurosurgery. Her voice catches. I saw him occasionally in hospital meetings. We were cordial. Did he know about me? Dad reaches for my hand. No. Your mother and I decided that telling him would only complicate everyone's lives. It wasn't just our decision to make, Mom adds quietly. It was yours too. We should have told you when you were old enough to understand. I pull my hand away. Instead, I had to find out from his mentally unstable sister who kidnapped my brother. Mom flinches. Emma, I need some air. I stand up, my chair scraping against the floor. I'm going for a walk. It's late. Dad begins. I'll stay on our street, I say. I need to think. Outside, the night air is cool against my face. I walk slowly down our sidewalk, looking up at the stars. Somewhere in the universe, my biological father exists as stardust now, never knowing I was here. The thought makes my chest ache. My phone buzzes with a text from Jessica. You okay? Need me to come over? Not tonight. Talk tomorrow, I reply. When I return to the house 20 minutes later, my parents are still in the kitchen, speaking in low voices. They fall silent when I enter. I want to meet them, I say. Mom looks confused. Meet who? James's parents, my grandparents. They deserve to know about me. My parents exchange glances. Emma, we don't know if that's a good idea right now, Dad says carefully. They lost their son, I say firmly, and they have a granddaughter they never knew existed. I want to meet them. Mom sighs. We'll discuss it tomorrow, okay? It's been a long day, but I don't back down. Promise me you'll help me find them. After a moment, she nods. I promise. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in a coffee shop downtown, my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. Across from me sit Robert and Eleanor Mercer, my biological father's parents, my grandparents. Eleanor keeps dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. You look so much like him, she says for the third time since we sat down. The same eyes. Robert's hand trembles slightly as he pushes a photo album toward me. These are pictures of James growing up. We thought you might want to see them. I open it carefully. The first page shows a dark-haired baby with serious eyes. As I flip through, I watch him grow a toddler with a mischievous smile, a serious elementary student with science fair ribbons, a teenager in a soccer uniform, college graduation, medical school. So many moments of a life I never knew. He would have loved you so much, Eleanor says, her voice breaking. He always wanted children. What was he like? I ask the same question I asked my mother, but hoping for a different perspective. They spend the next hour telling me stories how James built a telescope from scratch when he was 12, how he volunteered at a children's hospital during medical school, how he could recite entire passages from neurology textbooks from memory. He was a good man, Robert says firmly. A good son. And Melissa? I ask hesitantly. Was she always? Eleanor sighs deeply. Melissa adored James. They were close, especially after their father died when they were teenagers. When James got sick, she shakes her head. It broke something in her. She couldn't accept that she was losing him too. The hospital says she's receiving treatment now, Robert adds. A delusional disorder, triggered by grief. I nod, unsure what to say. Part of me still hates her for what she did to Charlie, to my family, but another part understands the desperate pain that drove her actions. We'd like to be part of your life, Emma, Eleanor says hesitantly, if that's something you'd want. I look at these strangers who share my blood, who see their lost son in my face. I'd like that too. The next few months are a slow process of healing. My parents and I start seeing a family therapist, Dr. Chen, who specializes in family secrets and identity issues. The sessions are hard. There are tears and raised voices and painful truths, but slowly, we begin to rebuild. I felt like I would lose you if you knew, Dad admits during one particularly difficult session, that you wouldn't see me as your real father anymore. You are my real father, I tell him, surprising myself with how true it feels. Biology doesn't change that. At home, we establish new rules about honesty. No more secrets, no matter how painful the truth might be. Mom shows me more photos of James that she kept hidden away, tells me stories about their brief relationship. It hurts to hear, but it's a healing kind of pain. I visit the Mercers once a month. They're eager to know everything about me, sometimes overwhelmingly so, but I understand their hunger. I'm their connection to their son, the grandchild they never knew they had. Charlie adapts to the changes with the resilience of childhood. So I have a bonus grandma and grandpa now? He asks one night as I'm tucking him in. That means more birthday presents, right? I laugh and ruffle his hair. That's one way to look at it. Melissa remains in a psychiatric facility, diagnosed with delusional disorder, exacerbated by complicated grief. The charges against her are reduced due to her mental state. I don't visit her, but Eleanor keeps me updated on her progress. Maybe someday, when the memory of Charlie's kidnapping isn't so raw, I'll be ready to face her again. Jessica sticks by me through everything. This is some serious Lifetime movie stuff, she says one afternoon as we study in my room. Are you doing okay with all of it? Getting there, I answer honestly. It's weird to think about who I am now. Half Mercer, half Walker. All Emma, she says firmly. 1 year later, I'm standing in our backyard in my graduation cap and gown, posing for photos. Mom and Dad stand on either side of me, their arms around my waist. Charlie makes funny faces in the foreground. Behind the camera stand the Mercers, Eleanor directing everyone to smile wider, stand closer. Now one with just Emma and her grandparents, Mom suggests, stepping aside. The Mercers move in, positioning themselves where my parents stood. Robert's hand trembles slightly on my shoulder, a tremor that started after James died and never went away. James would be so proud, Eleanor whispers, squeezing my hand. So proud of who you've become. After photos, we all move inside for the celebration dinner. It's awkward at times, these two families brought together by secrets and loss, but there's genuine warmth too. I watch as Dad helps Robert with his plate, as Mom and Eleanor compare notes on the cake they bake together. This is my family now. Complicated, imperfect, but mine. The truth didn't destroy us as my parents feared. It changed us, reshaped us into something something different but no less real. Later that night, I sit alone on the porch swing, looking up at the stars. I think about James Mercer, the father I never knew, whose blood runs in my veins. I wonder what he would think of all this of me, of the messy, painful way his existence in my life was finally acknowledged. I hope he would be proud. I hope he would understand that family isn't just biology. It's the people who choose you, who stay when things get hard, who love you through the truth and the lies and everything in between. The porch door opens and Dad steps out. Mind if I join you? I scoot over, making room on the swing. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, gently rocking back and forth. I'm proud of you, Emma, he says finally. So proud of how you've handled everything this year. I lean my head against his shoulder, the way I've done since I was little. I'm proud of us too. Above us, the stars continue their silent journey across the sky. Somewhere among them, perhaps, is the essence of James Mercer, the father I never knew but who gave me life. And beside me sits David Walker, the father who chose me, who loved me through everything. I am Emma Walker Mercer, daughter of both men, carrying forward the best parts of each. And for the first time in a long time, that feels exactly right.